Good evening. I am Tony Dattino, the founder of the USA Memory Championship, and I am doing my Wednesday evening 7 p.m. broadcast. Before I start, I want to acknowledge Matt Edwards, who has been chiming in on my broadcast. Matt is in our Air Force National Guard and is currently deployed on a 6-month mission. And I'm just delighted to see the comments that he sends back. And Matt, if you're listening to tonight's broadcast, I so appreciate men and women like yourself who are serving our country and putting their families on a back burner for deployment time. And stay well, and be safe, and I'm delighted that you're listening to our broadcast. And I also see Sandy Berkowitz. Sandy and I go way back for a number of years, and I'm seeing comments that come in from her. So I'm delighted. Two of my favorite people that I welcome the opportunities to talk and collaborate with are both at least sending in comments. So now welcome to anybody new or anybody that's listening in. In our Maximum Memory Mastery online course, we talk about 6 elements of brain health and their impacts to memory. And one of them that has been hard to find good material on is sleep. And I say good material on sleep because what is our brain doing when we're sleeping? It's had so many different reports, and whether we're dreaming or whether we're learning and integrating our prior day learnings, and there's just so much that goes on when we get a good night's sleep. But what this current issue of Time Magazine, so now I'm going to pick on the current issue of Time Magazine, not pick on it, I'm going to use it. It's the August 17th, it's a double issue, and they're talking about how to sleep better. So this is the big deal because I was surprised to see in reading this article the impact or the amount of people, money that people are spending on more healthy products and things. So the global wellness market is at the dollars are $683 billion, and there are, in 2018, there were 830, I'll get these numbers right, hang in there with me. So we're spending almost $700 billion on it, and we have over 800 million trips that people are going for purposes of wellness. And American Airlines is even hooked up with that. 1/3 of the adults, so this is a CDC study that was published, that 1/3 of adults are not getting enough of sleep. Now, so it's obviously telling us there's a huge problem. And then you come along and it tells you that the U.S. mattress industry, now we're not sleeping well, and how many mattress commercials do we see? And the U.S. mattress industry has doubled to $16 billion. I mean, those are a lot of mattresses. I just wonder where they're taking all the old ones and where they're putting them. So it's not an insignificant issue. And then when you add to that, the impacts that it has on our well-being. So now we're going to put it, it gives you getting a bad sleep, puts you at a higher risk for diabetes, cardiovascular issues, impaired memory, is what we've been talking about in our Maximum Memory Mastery. Impaired memory, you're not going to be as good at your problem-solving creativity. It's going to lead to fatigue and eventually anxiety and mood disorders, and all of that's going to impact your day-to-day life performance. So I think a lot of us know that. The key has been, how do you grab onto it? And so I was interested to find out that as I went through the article, it really isn't the question. So this is really what's important. In the article on the first part of this, it really said, the question isn't how can I sleep better? The real question is, how can I have a better life? How's that for a flip? Let's not worry about how can I sleep better. Bigger picture, how can I have a better life? And this is what the whole Brain Power series is about that we're doing that's within the Maximum Memory Mastery. And we've been kicking around changing the name of that online course because we've got a few more lessons we are planning to put in it. And more importantly, that which is already there is more than just about maximizing your memory. It's gotten a bit broader as we put bonus material in and we looked at the brain health materials and the Facebook broadcast that I'm doing. I'm taking each of the elements of brain health and I'm doing a couple of Facebook series, and one of them is sleep. So now let's talk about our sleep. So this writer goes off to a camp, and he's going to learn how to get enough of sleep. So here's what's interesting. He goes to this place, and the first thing they do on his first night is they give him an eye mask. Now, I'm not sure if I would want to put an eye mask on. They give him bamboo pajamas. Now, I do have some bamboo materials that I wear, and I love them, as well as bamboo sheets. I don't know what there is about bamboo. He's going to have earplugs, and again, I guess we want quiet. I don't know if I don't mind the mask, but God, I've been on planes enough of times and put the mask on, so I don't have a problem there. But then lavender spray. We're going to spray the bed. But here's the one that really got me, and we've talked about this. And we're going to give you a book where you can write in your worry journals, and you'll write down everything that bothers you before you go to sleep. Everything bothering you. So now we're getting into the issue of stress. And I've been talking about that. So now we're connecting the dots. We're going to have the right pajamas on. We're going to have the right mattress, whatever that may or may not be. We want it to be comfortable, but $16 billion worth. We want to have lavender spray and put down our worry journals. Because we don't want to have memory impairment, we don't want to have cardiovascular disease, we don't want to increase our diabetes, but now comes in our worry journal. One of the things I've talked about is one of the tools in our Maximum Memory Mastery online courses had about mind mapping. And mind mapping, what I do with mind maps when I'm having a bad night sleeping, so I'll get to sleep, but then wake up 2, 3 in the morning and my head's going. I get up and I mind map out everything going on in my head. It's like this journal that they're talking about. And I put everything down that I'm concerned about during that, whatever it takes me. If it takes me 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I'm going to get up and do that. But now comes the overall picture of answering the question, how can I have a better life? Well, here's what we know, okay? The keys to a good night's sleep are to do some exercise. I've been talking about that. It's in our program. We talk about exercise in my Live with Tony broadcast. I've made so many suggestions, even with COVID, about things you can be doing for exercising. And it's within your own home, walking up and down steps, or go find a brick and just go up and down the steps of bricks. I've talked about lifting the water gallon jug, or the milk jug, or the juice jars, juice ounces. Eating well. This is the time we should be learning how to eat well. Contrary to what so many people say, well, gee, I'm eating well, put on. No, you're not putting on weight during the COVID-19 quarantine. You're going to learn to eat well and maintain good eating habits. You're not going to drink too much alcohol. So 1 glass, 2. This week I've read 2 glasses for men, 1 glass for a female. You want to have a dark room, obviously, and quiet space. We may not be always able to do that. If you're living in a townhouse or you're living in an apartment, you may not be able to always do that, which may be then a good time to put the earplugs in. And you want to have a wind-down routine. You don't, 2 hours before, you want to start winding down, getting yourself ready for bed. And this is a case where less news is better. And watching, for me, I'm not watching the Yankees 2 hours before bedtime. I'll tape it and I'll watch them the next day. Because if they lose, if our football, I always had a boss that when the New York Football Giants lost on Sunday, he would get back from the game, he had season tickets, he'd get back from the game and just blast out work assignments to everybody. So his whole staff prayed that the Giants would win on Sunday afternoon. So we had a good time during their Super Bowl year, and work wasn't quite as bad on Sunday nights. And the greatest enemy to a good night's rest is your stress. So what I keep talking about is finding someone to talk to. I have given my email out to people and say, God, if you need somebody to talk to and just hear you out, send me an email. I've done that with a number of people. Send me an email. Let's set up a time, and I'll give you half an hour of my time just to walk you through what we can do over these difficult periods of stress, and let me give back to people that I can be helpful to. I've had a load of experience in this. I've researched this stuff for almost 30 years now. I'm involved with a number of really terrific opportunities in the present, and I'm clearly dealing in my own family members with this whole issue of stress and the uncertainty and the deadlines. And so I'm constantly giving out tips to people based on what they tell me. Here's what you may be able to do in your life that can make it a little bit easier. Here's something you can grab onto that can give you a little bit of strength to get through these periods of time. And as I say, get to the other side. So those are the techniques. So it's how do I make a better life? Exercise, nutrition, stress management, and mental challenges in a way of learning some new skills. I keep reading. I read 2 articles today. Stimulating your brain in a positive way. What is something new you can learn is viewed by our brains as being something constructive and something worthwhile and something that gives me a level of hope that it will pull me forward into the future. That's my broadcast for tonight. I'm back on tomorrow in the 3 o'clock time period, and I'll pick up some additional stuff from this Time magazine August 17th issue that's got lots of pages here on sleep. I'm going to pick up one more part of it, maybe a third. But we'll see you tomorrow. You have a good evening, and be safe. Do all the things we're supposed to do, and have a good night's sleep.